Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Joseph Mbele. I'm a Tanzanian. I teach at St. Olaf College in the English department. I've been here since 1991, and before that, since 1976, I was teaching at the University of Dar es Salaam in my country, Tanzania. In addition to teaching, I am very much involved in the community outside the college. I'm a cultural consultant. I help Africans and Americans navigate cultural differences. And I greatly enjoy my work. I greatly enjoy helping people to overcome serious obstacles. Helping people to anticipate and avoid serious problems, whether they are in personal relationships, whether they are in business relationships, whatever relationship. It involves individuals, it involves groups, it involves countries, companies seeking to invest in other countries, individuals going to live in a culture different from their own, diplomacy between different countries. All this can suffer as a result of cultural differences if the people involved don't take steps to understand these differences, to know how to deal with them, and how to leverage these differences. So that's what I've been doing for the last 30 years. I'm very happy with my work. Very pleased to encounter all kinds of people who appreciate my work, to hear narratives, testimonies by people who say, I've helped them this way or that way. I'm so excited to read comments, feedback on my books. This is my earlier book, Africans and Americans Embracing Cultural Differences. And then 2 years ago, 2021, I published a sequel, Chickens in the Bus, More Thoughts on Cultural Differences. I'm so happy to be able to produce these resources, and more recently, I've even created an online course for a specific group, African Americans who are moving to Africa. And I'm very excited about that, since I've been studying this particular phenomenon of the migration of Americans, Black Americans, to African countries. And so my little talk today concerns these people, the African Americans leaving the USA for various reasons, particularly escaping from racism, as they say, seeking to return to the motherland, to reconnect with their African heritage, perhaps. And so today I just want to say a little bit about some of the complicated things that happen to the African Americans and to the Africans when they are together on the continent. Culture shock, that's natural. As Americans, these African Americans discover that the Africans are very different from them in spite of sharing the same skin color. And so skin color or race does not necessarily mean, harmony between the people that share that skin color or that race. There is a cultural dimension, and it confronts them and brings about a lot of misunderstandings. There's a lot of culture shock, disappointment. Absolutely. So, for example, African Americans realize when they interact with those Africans on the continent that the Africans don't really think much about the color of their skin. They are mostly oblivious to it. They live their lives and they don't even consider themselves black people. It has never been an issue for them to even think about it. And so they are quite impatient, I would say, interacting with African Americans who seem to be always talking about racial issues. I have encountered Africans, at least in my country, who express this sentiment that they don't really like to hear all these conversations about race all the time. So, big culture shock right there. And then the African Americans see how Africans on the continent view or deal with white people. They see the Africans in Africa don't seem to have any problems or any issues with white people. In fact, the Africans seem to be not only friendly to the white people, but they seem to be deferring to the white people. This really bothers African Americans. And watching YouTube videos, I have seen some shocked African Americans saying, these Africans, they don't know the white people. They don't know the white people. We know them. We know these people. Now, if you are in Africa and you are telling Africans these kinds of things, you'll end up being very frustrated. Yes, you know white people, but these are white Americans, and you come from a history with them, which is a history of, inequality and discrimination and oppression and racism, which is an ongoing legacy. It is ongoing. The issues have not been resolved. The issues of race and racism, the issues of equal rights. So it's understandable why African Americans tend to be that way towards whites. But the Africans on the continent, yes, they experienced colonialism, but it was not the kind of experience with whites that African Americans experienced in the USA. And even now, with the neocolonialism, there is neocolonialism. African countries are not really free. They are still colonies in some ways. We call it neocolonialism. The experience of Africans with white people is still very different from what it is in the American context. Those Africans, most of them, say, from the rural areas, they may have seen only one white person in their life, or maybe two, who might be the doctor in the village, or the teacher, a volunteer, say from someplace in the USA, Oklahoma or Nevada or someplace, New York. With that kind of experience, what do you expect? So there are tensions like this, and the Africans on the continent don't understand the African Americans. The African Americans don't understand the Africans. And then worse still, Africans across the continent look at African Americans as white people. They have different names. In Swahili, the name is Mzungu. Mzungu means a white person. So it's really frustrating, really offensive to many of these African Americans, maybe most, to encounter such realities. I know in West Africa they have names too. For white person, Obroni, I guess that's the way it is in Ghana. In West Africa, in Senegal, places like that, the word Tubab. So the friction is ongoing, and over time, many things manifest themselves, which show clearly that if the African Americans dreamt of an easy passage into Africa, they were not on the right path, and it requires a lot of learning, and I encourage people to learn these things before they even leave the USA. I have been very active as a cultural consultant, giving presentations, talking to individuals, and telling them about my writings. I'm so grateful that my book, which has been there for many years, published in 2005, has been helping people. There are passages here, there are sections here where I talk about the issues African Americans face or will face when they go to Africa. And Chickens in the Bus has a whole chapter on those issues. And so it's very important, I think, to just be aware that there are cultural differences, and recently I've created a course, as I've said, to help African Americans prepare for the move to Africa, and to help them navigate the culture when they are there. I have gathered some of the things I have written, and have included new material, new text, and so I'm happy with that product, and I'm happy I put it together, and the link is beneath this video. So my little video today was meant to begin to highlight the kind of complexities that arise when African Americans go to Africa. There will be other things that I will address. For example, I've noted African Americans in Africa do tend to want to change the Africans over there. And I think many are working from a standpoint of trying to be helpful, trying to bring about positive change. But then there is a big obstacle, the cultural differences. And so how you approach those Africans, how they respond, is something that's mediated by these cultural differences. I'll be exploring some of these things, and I'll be really very intentional and persistent, because I think we need this kind of conversations. We really need them. We need to get out of any illusions. Unfortunately, there are still a lot of illusions, and there's also a lot of ignorance on both sides. Yes, on the African side and the African American side, there's a lot of homework that needs to be done. A lot of education is needed, a lot of patience with one another. So those are the things I'm going to be talking about. Keep checking my channel, and I hope you will pick up something useful every time you come. I should stop here for today, and I wish you all the best. Welcome back. Bye.